Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I'll be going over my second round game from the 2023 US Go Congress from Kent, Ohio. If you didn't see my first video in my Congress series this year, I ended up winning that game, so I am currently 1-0 in the tournament. And so my second round opponent, Tony Yang, 6 Dan, was also 1-0. So yeah, I got the black stones and Tony got the white stones. And right after the game, we didn't even leave the playing hall. Yilin Yang, 7 Dan professional, came over to our game and reviewed the opening. So I don't know if Yilin Yang is Tony's teacher, but regardless, I have feedback from Yilin Yang, 7 Dan professional, that I will let you know about. It's a pretty standard opening. And playing the upper right, and then white approaches, and a very normal way of playing would have been just take points like this. White will pincer, but obviously I can still attach, or 3-3, or even approach the upper left. So this is all normal and could have happened, but I played the pincer, which by itself isn't abnormal. Of course, white's going to attach, but I remember watching an In-seong lecture where he talked about kind of the new AI way of playing this joseki. Like the normal josekis are, okay, you can 2-space extend, you can hane on the inside, you can hane on the outside. There's a lot of options. But the move that In-seong taught me was this move. And I didn't know if Tony knew this or his intuition is good, but all this is what In-seong recommended. So white immediately goes here, and this was the first point that Yilin Yang made. This is too early for white. Like, white, there's obviously black has weaknesses, but white isn't really preparing to invade or to cut. So white should start with some move like this, or something on the right side, looking to cut here. Or, because there's this nice move as well, white can play something on the lower side. So that was the first thing Yilin Yang said. And so he also said that black shouldn't actually cut here, which, based on the result of the game, I agree with. Black should just jump here. Kind of saying, okay, white, you're cutting off a stone that, in the meantime, isn't that helpful for black. And black's direction here is really good towards the right side. So yeah, white should prepare somehow before cutting, and black should not go straight for the cut here. But it's still okay for both sides. But if black had played this properly, you'll see that white is not going to be getting a lot with these cutting stones, and black potential is really good. So this is the turning point of the game. So in the game I connected, but I really needed to play a move first. And that move was this one. It just strengthens the 2 stones while putting pressure on the 3 white stones in the center. So okay, if white fixed shape, then I'll fix. And you can see this is why white probably shouldn't cut immediately, is now white just has some stones in the center that in the meantime aren't doing a lot when black is so solid on the right and the bottom side. So okay, does white have any other moves? Okay, what about cut? Well, when white fixed, black fixed. When white pokes at black's weakness, black pokes at white's weakness. And so immediately you can see white doesn't have time to cut here. Yeah, white doesn't have time to cut here, although, like, if this happened, I don't know, maybe white would be kind of happy with this. Although black's thickness is quite big. if black continues to fight with this kind of move, you can see white is still kind of in danger. Because now, it doesn't work as well when white tries to cut here. It just doesn't work at all. So this forces white to, the only way to save these cutting stones is to Atari first. And then connect here, like this. And so you can see black is actually in the driver's seat on the fight on the right side, and white's shape in the center is not so good. So if white goes here, then it's very similar to that position, but black can just play this one. If black plays this one, this completely captures the stone at Q8, but white can cut here. In a lot of cases, black doesn't care, because white was alive in the corner anyways. So these two stones are inconsequential. But if black wants to save everything, then we can play this move. And gives this white stone a little more freedom, but we save these two stones. So black should probably play S7. But whether black plays S7 or this one, black is doing okay here. So yeah, black needed to play this one. It threatens to poke white's shape, and it does threaten, in the meantime, it fixes this cut here because white is weak themselves. But in the game, I immediately fix. Because my thought process here was, okay, well, white still has this push and cut, and white doesn't want to force me towards the corner because it's not 100% alive. Right? If something like this happened, after I descend, white is not 100% alive now. So there's no way white's going to force me to play this move. Well, I was wrong about that. White does go here. I descend, and then white attaches. And yeah, here I basically play the worst move possible. Well, there's really only two options here. Hane under and Hane on top. But yeah, if I just Hane on top, this works pretty well for black. And so my reading here was, after this, obviously right now white has this push and cut. White can't play a move on the bottom because white has a cut here. So even if white plays this kind of move, you can see that after I extend, I don't need a ladder, I just have a net. Where I can just net like this. So I don't need a ladder, and I have 3 liberties to white's 2. So white needs to fix somehow. Probably like this. So I read all this out, but in the game I was like, oh, but I can't capture down because white has this ladder. And if I can't capture down, then this must be bad for me. This must be bad for me. So that's all I considered. But so many times do I tell myself and other people, don't just read one variation, right? There's 2 Ataris here. So what if I Atari here, right? Atari. And then maybe play this move. Okay, white's going to fix. Push. Push again, that's Sente. And then descend. White's corner is dead. White's corner is dead. Remember that variation of, oh, white can't push me here like this because it weakens the corner? Well, if I did this, then I could kill the corner. Now, of course, what if white tries to live here? Well, you can see it's not perfectly alive. It'd be ko. But even regardless of that, if I just leave it, this Hane here is so big. So big. So I'm okay on the bottom. I have secured the right side. Or I should say secured the right side, but my right side is looking to be blocks. Like if white does go here. Standing up might be Ajikeshi. But we'll just play it for the sake of argument. And then maybe like this. If I want to build on large scale, obviously I could play this kind of move. It'd be okay for black. White's bottom right is still questionable. And yeah, it'd be a good game. So I just never considered Atarying at M2. basically. When I did this, I only considered Atariing down. So it's so lazy by me. So lazy by me. So in the game, I Hane under and have to Atari and then push, and I have to extend. But even this, and this might have been the blind spot that we're about to see, I was feeling okay about this, because in my mind it was like this. Okay, well, white, you need to live in the corner, right? If white does something else, we go to that same position that we were just in. And the only way for you to fix is, of course, playing the shape point here, right? Double peep. But this would end, or white making this exchange, look how weak it makes the outside. So I was like, okay, this is great for me. So what can white do? So what Tony played was this Atari. And once he played this Atari, basically black was in shambles. Because this fixes the life and death of white's corner in Sente. So this is the move, again, as crazy as it sounds, this is the move I did not see. All I was considering was this peep here. So Atari, I have to connect. Can't do anything else. And so, as opposed to peeping here, white doesn't weaken the outside. So it's just so much better. Like this, white's outside is still okay. So white Ataris and then plays here. So white's bottom right is 100% alive now because of this extra eye space white got with P2 in Sente. So black could have gotten an okay position here, but now it's tough. But even here, I just need to push this way. I want to attack these 5 stones, so lean on the bottom stones. White really can't Atari here, or double Hane, because it leaves too much weakness afterwards. And even this kind of thing, like, you really can't let black Hane, and you really can't let black Hane again. Yeah. And white would like a move on the right side, but white is actually too weak to have anything, to make anything work, I should say. Like, again, white doesn't have the ladder, and black has a net here now, like this. So white has to play this kind of move, but black is okay on the right side. So this kind of fight would be decent for black. But in the game, I just pushed this way. And I remember, even though I played this game over a week ago, I remember I spent barely any time on which way I should go. I just immediately pushed up. Because I was like, oh, I'll take away liberty. I don't even know what I was thinking. But this is so bad. Look at the direction white gets. Goodbye, black's right side. It was nice knowing you. And these stones here, how is getting these extra stones here going to help me attack these 5 white stones here? They're not. So I have to play this kind of move. At least I felt that way. But white can turn. I have to jump. And then white plays right at the shape point. Oh, that's so painful. That's so painful. I have to fix. White fixes. And then, again, I have to live in Gote. This is still Sente for white. Obviously, black would like this move here, but white can just push, and black is either going to die or lose these 4 stones. So, if you play here, this is dead. If you play this one, white pushes. And if again, I can live if I go here, but white will cut in Sente, and it's so painful. It's so painful. Because these 5 stones even have some extra aji, right? If white plays moves like this. So, yeah. I figured I really had to add a move here, although I didn't want to. So I played this one, but of course white can come out now. So again, look what black is getting on this board. A reduced bottom, reduced right side, and a weak group in the center. Whereas white's quote-unquote 2 weak groups are either out or have a base. So this is disaster for black. Yeah, even here, because I got to do something. I don't know why I don't just double Hane here. Yeah, I don't know. It's just extending. Like, okay, white's going to answer, but like I need to be more forceful. White can't. It looks like there's this Tetsuji, but it doesn't work here because this is an Atari on the stone here. So, yeah. If white cuts this way, this is actually kind of what black wants. I want this kind of fight. So now white has an extra group to worry about potentially. So, yeah, this is too slack here. But I do get to cap. White comes out. And I didn't mind this peep, but what I don't understand is why do I cut here? Well, I can tell you why. I was like, okay, let me settle these stones in the center. Cutting these 4 stones off saves these stones here. So there is some merit, but I should leave that as kind of a back door. If I need to, I can cut there. I should play this Hane like this. Something like this. When I cut here, white's turn is so painful. And then attach. Yeah. And then here, I should Hane like this. White will cut. And then I have to connect, obviously. There's a double Atari. And then white will Atari like this. Now, white captures in a ladder, but that means white captures in a ladder. It means I can play moves like this. And white has to be careful. White has to worry about this ladder here and worry about not losing too much in the upper left. And you can see I capture these 4 stones. Because in the game, what happens is, I was like, oh, white, you actually can't save those stones. So I'll just jump here. But white Hanes. And if I block, then white could cut, and I get captured like this. But I was like, haha, white. I can Atari here, and you can't connect. Like that. But white's like, okay, I'll just Atari. But here, it's an anomaly. What was I thinking? I can just connect. It's a connect and die for white. White can't go here. And while it could be painful allowing this to happen, right? Even white can throw in. Well, white is weak themselves, right? There's a cut here. So white really can't save these 2 stones immediately. But this is very important. Saving L4 means there's a cut here. Saving L4 means there's a cut here. It means when white plays a move in the game, which is this one, it's a little risky now. I just push and cut. And yeah, white is... It's a fight. It's still a fight. But in the game, I just take. So again, I don't know what I'm thinking. Now that cut here at J5 is fixed because K4 is an Atari. So yeah, I just don't know why I did not connect here. Again, I'm sure I played too fast. But like in my first round game, I was so careful and making sure of my reading and all that. But in this game, I was just like throwing stones at a wall and just hoping something happens with them. So yeah, white can poke there, and I'm like, oh well, I need some like support. And even here, I think I kind of have to fight here like this. And I just gotta risk it. And I don't think this would end terribly. Like my instincts tell me like black can do something here. There's something with this. But again, I hate to admit this, but during the game I never even considered playing this one. Never even considered it. I was just like, oh, I gotta live. So I just push. let white capture that capping stone, and then I live. And this felt okay because I took the corner, but the problem is I need an extra move to save all my stones. Like, white went here, but white did not need to go there. White could have just done this immediately. Because if I just block, white will wedge, and obviously there's two weaknesses here. White connect, cut, connect here, cut. Like that. So I would like to try to play this move, but even if white just connects, peep, there's an order here, but peep, peep, and cut. I'm not even alive now. Not even alive now. So, yeah, white going there is actually... White probably knew they were ahead, so they didn't need to do anything crazy, but this did allow me to play h3, which fixed my weaknesses. But it just doesn't matter. White Haned, and I was telling people, some of my friends at the Congress, like, what happened in your game? And I basically told them, yeah, I cut white, and those two groups surrounded me in the center. So, like, look at these two groups, right? This white group here and this white group here. Notice how somehow, through, I'm sure, my great play, somehow they surrounded me. Obviously, I captured these two, but white was able to surround me like this, right? Somehow white was able to surround from here all the way around to here. And that basically sums up this game. Yeah. So there's one more interesting thing that happens. So in this case, obviously this is a very normal move, but when white is so strong, I was like, okay, white's going to push and cut, and I don't think I can handle this with all of white's thickness nearby. So I attach first. This is maybe Ajikeshi, maybe not. It's something I've seen pre-AI in stronger player games, is when you have this double two-space jump on the third line, attaching to the middle one is just something I've seen. So I've kind of been trained to do that. But yeah, I should really save it, especially when I can do this anytime. And maybe I don't want to do this later. So I should just save this. But I make that exchange. And then I do this one. So this is the move I choose. And then jump. And so here, if I had just played the normal move, which is this one, white would just jump, and I'm going to be making no points while white is going to be attacking me, and yeah. So basically, I wanted to be able to block here. If I can block here, maybe I have a chance. It seals white in to the corner, so I get forcing moves towards the corner, and yeah. But obviously, there's a push and cut that if white does even immediately, black crumbles. So all I'm trying to do for my next moves is try to help that push and cut. So I attach here. White extends. And then I pull back. And white goes there. Cut. And then block. And so my reading was I had actually set up enough to be able to seal white in. So white pushes and cuts. And so you'll see my plan is, okay, Hane. Again, white's not totally alive at the bottom. So white has to be careful. White blocks. Atari. And then push up. And then cut. And then boom, that move. Goblin's Nose while threatening these three. So this was my plan. And if everything went well, it would look something like this, into this, and I get a ko, like this. And I do have local threats, like white's going to answer this. And so the question is, or the question / problem is, white also has threats. So for example, like, do I just sacrifice the bottom right? Right, it's tricky. And I probably have to. Just because the upper left is actually so big. And I probably have one more local threat of this one. Because if white takes or fills, I'm not sure which is better. Atari. And this is Sente towards the left side. So white has to answer and then connect. White is looking like they're dying. White's looking like they're dying. And I think I can even just connect like this. So yeah. This would probably kill white on the bottom side. So white will probably answer this like this. But again, white actually has more threats with this kind of thing. So it's a co-fight, basically. This is what I was reading. But in the game, what did I miss? Because this would be too nice for black. Is, what's the move that black plays? D14. So what if white takes D14? And once white played this, I was like, oh my goodness. Everything I was doing for the past dozen moves has been for nothing. Because there's no ko and white just lives. So it is a blind spot, but it's a blind spot I could easily find if I follow, again, my own advice of your opponent's key move is my key move. Or in this case, my key move is opponent's key move. So after this, like Atari, push, white cuts, Atari. Like, I do my best. So I'm like, okay, at least I can make something on the upper side. But white just starts playing endgamey stuff. I don't have time to fix that. White shoulder hits. And even here, I was like, I don't even think this works, but I gotta do something here to change the game. Because the entire left side is white's, and I don't even think I have enough points as white's left side. And white has center points, the bottom right, and Komi. So I have to do something. But I remember I played this move, and neither of us were in Byoyomi. But I remember Tony was looking at the board, and he's doing that thing that some players do when they count. They like use their finger, like just gesturing, like, oh, they're counting. So he was doing that very, very quickly, and he did like a nod, and then just played this one, which is basically saying, yeah, I could do this, and I could maybe live, but it is risky for the outside, and yeah, depending on whatever happens. So he's like, okay, I'm ahead. You can get, because this is a better result for black compared to if I just do this, right? If I do this one, I have to fix like this. But if I'm able to do this, then I actually gain a little bit. But white is so far ahead that it does not matter. Yeah. And white was also playing a little scared here. Basically, white can capture these two stones anytime, so this entire right side white group is safe. It's just safe. So, yeah. Yeah, if white can play, let's see, this one. And there's no way for black to save the two. Obviously, if I connect, cut. If I fix, cut here, and it's snap back like this. So, yeah. And even if you don't see that one, you can just Atari and it captures. So, like, I'm trying to poke here because I have to, but just nothing here works. Yep, so like this kind of move for white was, although that one's probably necessary because there is a cut here and the peep, and yeah. But and then this move. This is black's last chance, but it just doesn't work. In a lot of cases with this kind of thing, the idea is, okay, if white goes here, then I can squeeze like this. And this is actually quite a big gain for black if this happens. So, okay, white needs to fix. Oh, but now I can connect here. And now, in a liberty race, I'm ahead. But there's one contingency here that black has problems with, and it's that this stone can be captured. So in normal circumstances, this works, But once I remembered that, oh my goodness, white can capture at S8. This doesn't work. I did a mental facepalm. I was like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So in this case, then, just cutting here is best. Now, in some cases, when it's like this, I can play here to start a ko, like white can Atari, but I can play here. But the problem with this ko is even if I find a good ko threat, like let's say here, one that loses points even. But let's even say white says, you know what, you can have it. I lose the entire right side. So this ko is way too heavy for me. Way too heavy. So I can't fight that ko. So I just end up cutting, which is what I should have done to begin with, but I lost more points than I should have. Right? Like I would never play this move otherwise. Play there. Yeah, I think the game record is actually a little wrong. I think white clamped here first. Did this. And then clamped here. And then I resigned. Because, yeah, just I have barely any points on this board, so just ended up resigning. Yeah, Tony played very, very strong. And I believe I've actually played Tony in an online tournament during the pandemic, where it was much closer than this, but I think Tony still won that game by like in the end game. So yeah, just a lot of, from Black's perspective, just a lot of bad moves. So no other way to describe it. So yeah, after this game, I was 1-1 in the Congress, and even though I played pretty poorly, I wasn't too down on myself. I was trying to keep a positive mentality, so I wouldn't let prior games affect future games. So I was just like, okay, we move on. 1-1. It's 4 more games, nothing to get crazed about. So yeah, this was my second round game. So if you have any questions about this game, please let me know in the comments, and I'll see you all in the next video.